Hi, everyone. Welcome to our market update.
Welcome. And Vinnie, special today, due to inflation, we're going to raise the cost of you viewing this podcast. So for everyone viewing it, it's now a $300 viewing fee to go to work with inflation. So I just thought I'd send that out there, because for our millions of followers, this could be a profitable business for us at $300 a viewing.
Thanks. All right. Well, let's get into some fun because this is where people come for. This is why they come.
People do not come for the Disney ripoffs, that's for sure.
Question time. All right. So if you're watching us last week, or this week, how much did the most expensive single-family home sell in Borrego Springs so far this year in 2021? Well, David talked about the idea last week that he actually helped someone buy in Borrego Springs this year, and if you would listen to what he said, mind you, it wasn't the same property, yet
boom,
it was the same price. Oh my gosh, man! Sometimes he gives these nuggets that because you kind of zone him out a little bit, but then he gives these nuggets and you grab you back in. You gotta stay with those nuggets.
It's kind of like an octopus. I get like one little tentacle around, but then I have 7 other arms, and I'm pulling you in with this data.
Yeah. So if you would have grabbed onto this, so let's see if he gives you any nuggets for this one right here. Okay. How much did the most expensive attached home, like a condo, townhome, row home, sell in downtown so far this year?
Ooh. I'm going to tell you, I think that's going to be around 7 mil.
7 mil is your guess. All right. Well, we'll see if the flood of text messages come in and see where they come in. And mind you, you look below, you'll see our numbers. That's where you can text with your chance to win $50. All right. Now, it's that time of year.
Wow.
Okay,
Vinnie, my 4-year-old came over and was utterly amazed by that.
Happy holidays. All right, so hopefully you'll have some holiday cheer with what's going on with rates and mortgages.
You know, Vinnie, I wish I could give you some holiday cheer, but I think your gifts are going to be really expensive this year.
Bah humbug.
I'm glad you asked me why. Thanks for asking me why they'll be so expensive, Vinnie. Well, I got some notes here I wanted to just share with some. So the producer price index, which is the wholesale level of what people who produce goods and then they resell out, their cost of inflation went up 8.6%. So it is up 8.6% year over year. That's the highest on record ever for that to increase that much in a single year. 8.6. That's a lot of inflation. Next, your core producer price index, which is not food and energy. They released another for October. The numbers came out. That went up 6.8%. And then pure inflation, which includes energy and food, because some of us use energy and food, that's up at 6.2. So if you've been watching us for a while, the Fed wanted 2% rate of inflation. So we're a little bit higher. Why do I mention all this? Because on Wednesday, the Fed did a bond auction and almost no one bought them. It was the worst bond auction in history. Why do I mention that? Because when you add up those 3 things together, that tells you the only way that the Fed can control inflation from going out of control is to let rates artificially go up. So even though the Fed is not going to change its quote unquote lending rate itself, it's going to let inflation run out of control, and it's going to stop buying bonds, which naturally makes banks push the rates up. So, overall, it's like, I think our new normal is going to be above the 3s. I think your new normal is going to probably be 3 1/8 to 3 1/4 all around the whole block. And that's for people who are putting down 20% on a perfect deal on a single family residence unless you're going FHA or VA, that's still at your like 2.875 and 2.75 for VA and FHA. Please don't do that.
Well,
And
you know what? He's not saying please don't do that to you, the listener. He's saying please don't do that, Fed. I mean,
yes,
why are you
please
raising the
don't
rate?
don't destroy. So, it's interesting, Vinny. Me and you've been doing this a long time, and you look at it, it comes and goes, it ebbs and flows, all this stuff, and sometimes it's a party out there with rates, and other times it is not. And right now, we're heading into a rising rate environment, and I hope things get under control because it's going to be a major deterrent for a lot of people. But the good news is this, Vinny. Here's the good news. I know I've been the bad news bears here, so I want to give you some good news. The good news is for those of you that have your mortgage, it is below the rate of inflation. That means you're essentially borrowing for free. Let that soak in. Whenever your mortgage rate is lower than the rate of inflation, you are borrowing for free. So everyone who's holding their cash and going, hey, I'm not going to buy anything, I'm just going to let the market dive, inflation is going to eat away your money and you will need hard assets. So, we're heading into a different time period now, but the same rule applies is inflation destroys your savings and inflation raises rates. So
I'm going to jump in over here. Okay, this is a conversation I had today. So I want to bring this up before I go into what new properties that came in the market. All right. I don't know if you can see this, right? Just a straight line across.
Ooh.
Right? Amortization. All right. So when you're on the earlier stages, everything, you're going to be paying a lot more interest to the banks, a lot less principal. All right. Later on, you can pay a lot more principal and less interest. Okay. So let's say if you have a 5% interest rate right now, right? 5% interest rate.
Who has that? I hope no one has that.
Someone asked me today, I've had my interest rates, and I think they said in the fours. Yet they only had 10 years left on their loan.
That's close. That's a hard call.
Right. So you really have to look at it because they could reduce their interest rate, down to the threes, possibly even better with all the equity they have in their property now because they've owned it for a long period of time. Yet they have to really factor in that amortization, right? Restarting that clock right there, right? So it's not always about the monthly payment. It's about where your monthly payment
is. Wait a minute. You just blew my mind, my friend, because you've said that so many times. And I am not the smartest tool in the shed. And you've told me always worry about most important payment. It's the most important monthly payment. And now you just shattered my whole dreams and tell me it's not. What? Okay. That's it.
That's the monthly
bizarro world.
Monthly payment is one of the most important thing. Yet. Yet. Here's the caveat. Asterisk. Asterisk. Is if you've owned the property, you only have a couple years left of making the payments, then you really want to factor in by restarting your amortization, right? Is that going to do the best for you in 10 years from now?
For those of you that don't realize the power of the message Vinnie just gave you, that is the message that an honest lender should look at that and go, you should not refinance your home if your most important goal is to pay it off. And the lender should be asking that question, or is the most important thing to improve your monthly cash flow? What is most important to you? Because it's an interesting environment. And in my opinion, if you got 10 years left on the loan to pay it off, my personal opinion would be pay it off and leave it alone. But if the person can reduce their monthly by $400 or $500 and they're hurting for cash, all of a sudden people will do that as well. And, the interesting paradox here, Vinnie, is, and I'll say it one more time because it is interesting, is whenever you're borrowing way below the rate of inflation, it's essentially free, which is absurd. And I will say this because my home mortgage is at 2.75 and I have no intention of paying that off. I could make extra payments each month and I could pay that sucker down and shave 10 years off it. But instead, I'm taking that money and reinvesting it to make compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, which will make me more money because my cost of borrowing is 2.75. I know we went hard in concepts today. We did, Vinny. We went really deep here, but I'm
just going to, we got 10 seconds. I'm just going to go quickly. 669 is the properties that went on the market last week. So they had trickled up a tad bit, still drastically lower than we need to be. We've hit our dead mark, our time frame. We try to switch it up. Question, comment, reach out to us. If you have something that you want us to talk to specifically about, please reach out to us. And we're going to finish it off with a newbie.
Oh,
Bye,
no.
guys.